There's a quiet kind of embarrassment that creeps in when you begin to notice people pulling away just a little sooner, ending conversations just a little faster, or politely turning their heads when they hug you. At first, you brush it off. Maybe it's in your head. Maybe they're just distracted. But deep down, a thought starts to form, what if it's me? I've met so many men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who take pride in keeping themselves clean, who shower daily and wear fresh clothes, but still struggle with something they can't quite name. They don't smell fresh, and they don't know why. The hard truth is, after a certain age, your body starts playing by a different set of rules, especially when it comes to hygiene. One of the most overlooked causes of persistent body odor is something most men don't want to talk about: improper wiping. I say this not to shame, but to empower, because this is about reclaiming dignity, not assigning blame. As we age, joints stiffen, flexibility decreases, and it becomes harder to thoroughly reach and clean ourselves after using the toilet. You may think a quick wipe gets the job done, but often it doesn't. Small traces can remain, especially in the folds of the skin, and those traces are enough to trigger odors that cling to your clothing, your bedding, your chair, your presence. Worse yet, your sense of smell naturally dulls with age. So even if you don't notice a thing, others probably do. I've had older patients come to me confused, frustrated, thinking they've done everything right. But when we talk honestly, it becomes clear what worked at 40 doesn't work at 70. The solution? Start by replacing dry toilet paper with unscented, alcohol-free moist wipes. They clean more effectively, especially if your digestion has changed and stools are softer due to medications or diet. Better yet, consider installing a bidet attachment. It's not a luxury, it's a tool for confidence. And if reaching is a challenge, there are long-handled hygiene aids designed specifically for this purpose. I've seen men transform not just in hygiene, but in spirit, because they finally felt clean again. Their confidence returned, their social lives revived, and most importantly, they walked into rooms knowing they were in control of how they showed up in the world. That kind of peace? That's not vanity. That's power. Most men don't think twice about their underwear. It's just something you put on in the morning and forget about. But what if I told you that your choice of underwear and how often you change it is quietly shaping the way people perceive you, and not in a good way? I've met countless older gentlemen who still wear the same brand they bought decades ago, rotating the same worn-out pairs for days, even weeks, without realizing they've become a silent source of odor. It's not because they don't care. It's because no one ever told them how their body's relationship with fabric changes with age. As we grow older, our skin becomes thinner, our circulation slows, and our sweat glands behave differently. Even when you feel like you haven't broken a sweat, your body is still releasing moisture, oils, and dead skin cells into your clothing. And if you're wearing the same briefs for 2 or 3 days, especially ones made of thick, non-breathable fabric, you're essentially trapping that bacteria-rich environment against your skin. Add in minor urine leakage, something incredibly common after 70 due to prostate changes or medication side effects. And now that fabric is holding on to smells you can't wash away just by showering. One gentleman I treated, Richard, wore the same cotton boxers 3 days in a row because he said, "I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed home." But the truth is, you don't have to go out to sweat. Your body is always active. When I encouraged him to change daily and switch to moisture-wicking underwear, the difference was immediate, not just for his comfort, but for how his clothes smelled, how his furniture felt, and how he carried himself. He told me he didn't realize how much he had adapted to feeling stale until he finally felt clean. So here's my advice. Treat your underwear like your toothbrush, non-negotiable, daily, and essential to your well-being. Upgrade your drawer. Look for fabrics designed to breathe, to pull moisture away from the skin, and to support hygiene without trapping heat. It's a simple shift, but one that sends a powerful message every morning. I still care about how I show up in the world. And that message? It echoes louder than you think. There's something most men overlook entirely when trying to figure out why their home, their clothes, or even their body just doesn't smell fresh anymore. It's not their soap. It's not their cologne. It's the air. Specifically, the air trapped in their bathroom. I've walked into homes where everything looks clean, the floors are mopped, the sink sparkles. But the moment I step into the bathroom, there's this lingering, stale dampness in the air. And that air? It sticks to you. It clings to your towels, your clothes, and yes, even your skin. As we get older, we tend to keep routines simple. We take shorter showers, we hang the towel on the same hook, we keep the door closed to hold in the heat. But over time, poor ventilation turns your bathroom into a breeding ground for bacteria and mildew, both of which produce strong, musty odors that no amount of air freshener can truly hide. And here's the twist: most men in their 70s don't even notice it. Your sense of smell fades slowly with age, so you adjust to that musty scent without realizing the impact it's having on how you carry that smell back into the rest of your home, or worse, into public. I remember a Vietnam veteran named Walter who kept his bathroom spotless visually. But he couldn't figure out why his daughter would always open windows when she visited. One day, I showed him how damp the bath mat had become underfoot and how his towels never fully dried. We opened the window, added a small exhaust fan, and replaced the old heavy cotton towels with quick-drying microfiber ones. Within a week, even he could tell the difference. His clothes stopped smelling musty. His skin felt less sticky after showers. And, most importantly, he felt proud of his space again. So here's what I want you to do. Make bathroom ventilation non-negotiable. Turn on that fan every time you bathe. Leave it running for at least 20 minutes afterward. Open a window, even just a crack. Hang your towel fully open so it can breathe. Wash your bath mat regularly. Because when the air around you is clean, it doesn't just freshen the room, it freshens you. And in a world that often underestimates older men, smelling fresh is a quiet kind of strength, a sign that you haven't given up on yourself. There's a subtle shift that happens once men retire or start spending more time at home. The daily routines once tied to a job, a schedule, or public interaction begin to loosen. And among the first habits to quietly slip away is one that has a much larger impact than most men realize: using deodorant. It sounds minor, even trivial, but the absence of that one small step each morning can slowly turn into a problem that affects your confidence, your relationships, and how the world perceives you. I've met men in their late 60s and 70s who genuinely believed that because they didn't sweat like they used to, they no longer needed deodorant. And while it's true that perspiration patterns change with age, that doesn't mean odor disappears. In fact, your body chemistry becomes more complex as you get older. Your skin thins, your oil production shifts, and the bacteria that live on your skin, especially under your arms, begin to interact differently. The result is a low-level, persistent odor that builds up over time, even if you shower regularly. And since your own sense of smell has likely dulled with age, you might not notice a thing, but others do. I recall one man, Gerald, a retired teacher, who came to one of my workshops looking sharp in every way: pressed shirt, clean shoes, warm smile. But he admitted that his granddaughter had gently told him that he didn't smell quite right anymore. He had stopped using deodorant altogether, thinking it was unnecessary. We talked about the difference between deodorant and antiperspirant, about how some natural products don't offer enough protection for older skin, and how sticking with the same brand from 30 years ago doesn't always meet today's needs. After switching to a clinical strength combination product that matched his body's current chemistry, the change was dramatic. He felt fresher, more confident, and said he no longer noticed people stepping back during conversations. This isn't about vanity, it's about self-respect. Using deodorant isn't something you do for others, it's something you do for yourself. Because no matter your age, showing up fresh and comfortable in your own skin is a quiet declaration. I'm still here. I still take pride in how I live, and I refuse to fade into the background. I once walked into a home that smelled like lemons. At first, it seemed pleasant, even inviting. But as I moved through the hallway and stepped into the bathroom, something felt off. The lemon scent was strong, too strong, and beneath it, faint but unmistakable, was a musty, sour smell that clung to the air like damp fabric left out too long. That's when it hit me. This wasn't cleanliness. This was cover-up. One of the biggest mistakes older men make when trying to manage odor is relying on air fresheners instead of addressing the real cause. It's understandable. No one wants to think their home, their bathroom, or worse, their body is the source of an unpleasant smell. So we reach for the spray, the plug-in, the scented candle, but when those smells mix with lingering odors from moisture, mildew, or unclean surfaces, the result isn't freshness, it's a chemical cocktail that announces itself the moment someone walks in. I remembered George, a 78-year-old widower who prided himself on keeping a tidy home. He sprayed citrus air freshener religiously, convinced it was helping, but he didn't realize his toilet had a slow leak at the base, that his bath towels were still damp hours after use, and that the bathroom fan hadn't worked in years. When his daughter finally told him that his house smelled like lemon and wet socks, it broke his heart. But it also woke him up. We replaced the seal on his toilet. We cleaned the bathroom deeply behind the toilet, under the sink, even the light switches. We swapped out heavy cotton towels for quick-drying ones and ran a fan for 20 minutes after every shower. Then, and only then, did we bring back a soft, subtle lavender oil diffuser. Within days, the difference was night and day, not just in how his house smelled, but in how it felt. It felt clean, not masked. It felt fresh, not forced. And most importantly, George felt respected in his own space again. Real cleanliness doesn't need to be perfumed. It announces itself in silence, in the way your towel feels dry, the air feels light, and your clothes come off the hanger with no scent at all. Don't let artificial fragrances fool you. Don't settle for the illusion of clean when the real thing is within reach. Because you deserve to live in a space that reflects the care and dignity you've earned. There's something powerful about a man who decides, even later in life, to take back control of how he shows up in the world. I've seen it again and again, men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who choose to make small changes that ripple outward, restoring not just their confidence, but their sense of pride. And sometimes, it all starts with something as simple as asking the hard question, is there something about me that I've stopped noticing? Talking about odor is uncomfortable. It touches our dignity, our masculinity, our independence. But ignoring it only deepens the silence that isolates us. The truth is, each of the 5 habits we've discussed today, improper wiping, infrequent underwear changes, poor bathroom ventilation, skipping deodorant, and masking odors with air fresheners can quietly strip away the very thing we worked our whole lives to protect, our presence. The presence that says, I am still strong. I am still here. I am still me. But here's the hope in all of this. Change doesn't require an overhaul. It starts with a single, honest moment. Maybe it's switching to fresh underwear every morning, even if you're not leaving the house. Maybe it's noticing how your bathroom smells when you're alone, and asking yourself if that smell is helping or hurting your comfort. Maybe it's just deciding that your skin, your clothes, your home should reflect how much you still value yourself. You don't need anyone's permission to make that shift. You don't need a big reason or a major event. All you need is the quiet understanding that you matter still, always. And every small action you take to live with dignity and freshness is a message to the world that you haven't faded, you've refined. If this message speaks to you, I encourage you to hold on to it. Make it part of your day. Share it with someone who might need it. And remember, the way you care for your space, your body, and your spirit is not about vanity, it's about identity. It's about honoring the life you've lived and the life still ahead.